Hey friends. Um, I had something show up this morning about it ties together the experiences I've had over the last week or so, and also it got me reflecting on this post a little bit because there's a practice or a tradition almost in my family, and especially this large family group that I've been in for the last week or so. We're having a big family reunion up here in Michigan, um, and the tradition is basically that almost inevitably there'll be some significant event or simply a celebration. We'll simply take the opportunity to celebrate, and in the act of celebration often manifests as or it includes a chance for intentional expression, a chance to for somebody or multiple people to speak about their life, about an event, whatever, right? And it's something that it's more than just a little introductory speech to just acknowledge the event. It tends to be people go really deep and talk about their life in a profound way, or talk about the the relationships that we have in a profound way. And I sort of recognized this morning, I was like, I think this video post that I've been doing for the last 900 and some days is an outgrowth of that. I think it's an extension of my family tradition in a way, because I found so often over the years, and continue to find, that those moments of intentional expression where I will both because I'm called upon to say something, but also because I'm in the context of people listening really deeply, people who know me to my core listening really deeply. That creates a circumstance where I discover something about myself, something about life. I sort of face into my own depths in a way, and allow them to be seen. And I think this post is basically a new, like, it's like my own practice that lets me like bottle that and take it with me everywhere I go, because the effect is very similar. And I've talked about this many times on this post, that the effect is to connect me with something deeper, connect me with a deeper aspect of myself, connect me with a kind of metaphysical reality. Sometimes, I kind of let this post do whatever it does. I've been doing it for so long now, and I try not to manipulate it or give it ramifications or restrictions that would start to force me to have to go a certain direction. There's something about this post in particular that the only direction that I do impose on myself is that I regard my life every day as I do this from the highest vantage point that's available to me. And I notice that the altitude of that changes. Some days I'm talking about the nature of consciousness and my limited perspective in this cosmic, in this cosmos that I somehow have gotten a flash of, or, there'll be some spiritual practice that's really changing my relationship to reality in some way. And other times I'll just be talking about the food I'm eating, or practicing violin with my daughter, or it'll just be about something that's coming out of the day. But the practice itself is designed to get me to take me to a place where, no matter what's happening, whether it's a beautiful positive period or a beautiful positive day, or whether there's some challenges that I'm facing, that I'm struggling with, and I'm not sure how I'm doing, that I take a position on those that regards them as a gift. It regards everything as a gift. And it's funny because now that this is not intentional, but which is the other thing that constantly happens, I'll start saying something and then just there's total synchronicity that it lines up with other things in my life. But the poem that I read by Hafiz last night for yesterday's poem was exactly about that. It was about, I forget how he said it, but he said there are people out there who know that every single thing that happens is a gemstone. Every moment of reality is this boundless gift. I can't paraphrase this poem very well because I read it late last night after a long bedtime with my daughter, 4-year-old. But that's really the intention behind this expression. It's to elevate my consciousness, to elevate my perspective on my life at least once a day, and then express that. I think I might have even said that in the first couple of weeks or months of doing this. I sort of tuned into the fact that that's really what's fundamentally going on here. When I started the practice, I don't even think I knew that. Maybe I did. I don't remember. And maybe the posts, if I went back and checked them, would tell me that. But I remember at various moments along the way that intention really crystallizing and becoming the main thing that orients this practice. And what I guess I hadn't, for who knows why, because it seems kind of obvious, but what I hadn't really put together is that it's really an outgrowth of something that's a practice of intentional expression that comes from my family. It comes from big gatherings like this. It comes from gatherings with my nuclear family, my family of origin. It's not a new thing for me. It's an old thing. It's something that I've been doing for most of my life, or at least a good portion of it, and I think I at some point was like, I don't want to only do that on like birthdays and holidays. I want to do that on I want to do that every day, because again, having to express from that vantage point means having to assume that vantage point. It's kind of like talking about my workout today. I have to have worked out. Otherwise I can't, or it's not a great example, but anything that like I have to do it in order to talk about it. Um, and it's not, and the fact is, all of us in our spiritual practice or personal inner work or whatever we're doing, there's a lift involved. There's a focus that it demands. There's an effort. We have to be devoted. I mean, I'm seeing all these. I haven't actually watched a lot of Sadhguru videos recently, but I've seen his quotes pop up. I get daily quotes from Sadhguru, and he is frequently talking about we don't master anything without total devotion. We don't master life without total devotion. And that's I think really true. I think there's a kind of the irony is, or the sort of blessing is, once we step into that place, once I start speaking from this higher vantage point, immediately I fall into a very high functioning effortlessness. And high functioning effortlessness is what we want, right? We don't necessarily, high functioning effortfulness is also important, and sometimes that's what's on the table. Sometimes it's like, this is gonna take some effort, I gotta do it, and it's gonna be what it is. It's important, I care about it, but it takes the effort. But with spiritual practice, because the nature of the practice is to elevate our perspective generally and give us deeper, higher ability to see, frequently the effort of the now moment of doing this whatever thing or going through whatever challenge we're in, frequently that is alleviated. It's made better by the practice. But our own friction or our own resistance can initially make it seem like, oh, this is going to take so much effort, right? And that does happen. That happens less and less, and it really doesn't happen very often with this post, where it's like, okay, gotta go speak from that higher vantage point, even though I'm not really feeling it right now. Fuck. but even on those days, hopefully you can't tell what those days are, but even on those days, and sometimes especially on those days, the practice sort of performs a flip, and I'm all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, all this shit that was kind of pulling me down 15 minutes ago, now I have a whole new take on it. I have, because of expressing something intentionally, because of bringing myself to the place where I could express from there. If that's my one sort of imperative, I can't help but assume that perspective. It's inherent in the practice. So then I leave the post, and it's like, oh right, that's the truth. The pain or the friction or the resistance or whatever it was, that's not the truth, but it's not the highest truth. It's not the only view of reality, and it's not the highest view of reality. There are higher perspectives that are available to me. So very frequently that'll be my exit from that condition, and now I'm cruising along in a higher perspective. So that's what the practice of intentional expression for me is all about. You can pick whatever intention you want, I suppose, but I would sort of, if I was coaching somebody on this and they were going to assume this practice, I would encourage them to assume an intention that elevates. That's what we want. We want to elevate every day, right? Gyms aren't full of couches and TVs. You don't go to the gym to be lazy and eat potato chips. You go to the gym to work out. That's the whole point. So a practice, maybe I don't need to make this point. Maybe I've made my point. riffing on the ideas now. But that's what showed up for me today. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Hope you'll tune in again. I will see you very soon.